Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, or whenever you're going to listen to this. It's early morning here in Milan, in Italy. I'm Allison Reiner. I'm your Loved Again coach. I'm a member of Project Positive Change. And today, Monday, we talk about relationships. It's Relationship Monday in Project Positive Change. And that can be any type of relationship at all. I was thinking this morning before I popped on, what do I want to talk about today? What's showing up for me? What do I need to share with you today? And the relationship that you have with yourself, that's something that's come up a lot for me over this weekend. I've been in a kind of reflective state. Hi, Sam. I've been in a kind of reflective state this weekend. So I thought I would come and talk to you about it. Let me just get the light right. I'm sitting in the darkness at the moment. It's kind of grey and miserable here. So before I get started, let me tell you a little bit about me. As I say, I'm a Loved Again coach. I work with women and men who are unhappy in relationships, unhappy in their relationships. I must move this damn thing from over my shoulder. Who are questioning whether they want to remain in the relationship, in their long-term relationship or not. And what happens when we're in that space, apart from the fact that you spend an awful lot of time looking at the other person, looking at the relationship, trying to figure out what you can do to make it work the way you want it to work. Whilst you're doing all of that, what you're not doing is looking at yourself and looking at the relationship you have with yourself. And no matter, I did a class, the reason I'm talking about this is I did a class, a webinar on Friday evening, and it struck me as I was talking about people pleasing and boundaries. So not necessarily what I'm talking about here today, but as I was talking, every question that somebody posed to me, the answer was, look at yourself, look at your relationship you have with yourself. It's uber, super, more than I can possibly tell you, important. It is the basis of every single relationship you have. It's the basis for the level of happiness, the level of contentment, and the level of self-worth. If you know me at all, and Sam, I don't know if you're still watching, Sam and I share a common goal. We want to take self-love out into the world. We want it to be a renowned entity. We want it to be something that everybody in the world knows about and is working on, is practicing. Because when you cannot, here are a few of the simple rules that I've found in my life, in the life of my clients, and in the life of my friends and family. You cannot be loved more than you love yourself. You cannot be respected more than you respect yourself. You cannot receive more than you're willing to give yourself. These are just fundamental laws. What happens is either you attract people who have no intention or no desire to give, but are there to take. Or, worse still, and sadder still, you create such a barrier between you and the people that want to love you that you will create constant sabotaging behaviours that push those people that really desperately do want to love you away. The people that really desperately have a desire to hold you close, they can't hold you any closer than you hold yourself. And it's so difficult and it's so heartbreaking to watch from my point of view. And and I'm kind of as I say, I've been pondering it a lot over the weekend. One of the things that I get caught up in, my own personal story leads me to be here and to talk to you with, I have to say, it's some level of authority. One, I've been there too, I've studied it. Three, I've taken other people through the process. So I know what it's like to be in that place where self-loathing rather than self-love runs your life. And everybody else deserves more than you deserve. You put everybody before yourself because you feel so undeserving, or you feel that, if you don't, you'll make other people angry, they might reject you, they might push you away, and the fear of being rejected is so strong that you will go to any lengths to keep those people, no matter how badly they treat you, close to you. Instead of turning it completely on its, on its head and saying, okay, I want people who are willing to treat me well. What do I need to do to attract those people? What do I need to do to make sure that those good people in my life are given the tools that they need to treat me to the best of their ability and to treat me the way that that I desire and that I deserve? And the answer to that is you teach them. You teach them by example. You become the mirror for them. You become the mirror that they see how you treat yourself and they know what those standards are. They know how to treat you. They know how to behave around you. They know what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And more than that, you teach them that it's okay to put yourself first. It's okay to be full of love for yourself. It's okay to know your own worth and to celebrate your worth. And the saddest thing in the world for me, and it's why I've been pondering it this weekend, is I can hold that, and I can see how much you deserve to be loved. I can see how much you need that love in your life. I can do everything in my power to enable you to move through that. But I can only do that with your agreement. I can only do that when you're prepared to take action on it, when you're prepared to do that work that's needed. When you stop looking outwards and looking at what's not working in your relationship, what's not working with your partner, what's not working at the world at large, and you turn that and you start looking at yourself and say, where am I not doing these things for my partner? For myself, for my partner. You're probably doing it for your partner. You're probably doing so much of it for your partner. There's no room left for you. Where am I lacking? Where am I not giving myself what I desperately want from other people? And it's that simple, asking yourself that question, allowing those answers to come in. If you're talking about not being loved enough, where are you not being loved? Where are you not being loving to yourself? Is it that you're not putting yourself first? Is it that there is no room left in your busy life for you at the end of each day, at the end of each week? Is it that you find it impossible to say no to the demands of other people for whatever reason? So there's no room left in your life for you to take care of yourself physically, emotionally, financially. If you're complaining that you're not being listened to, that's a big one. If only I could make other people understand. And we spend so much time trying to make other people understand. When did you last listen to yourself? When did you last listen to the exhaustion in your bones? The mental fatigue? When did you last listen to your gut instincts or what was going on in your heart? Or listen to the second or third voice that comes in your head, not the first one that says, I must do for others, but the next one that says, I'm really too tired. I really could do with a break. When did you last listen to that? How on earth will you ever allow anybody else to hear that if you're not listening to it? When we talk about respect, same thing. I don't feel respected. That was a big one for me. I don't feel respected. Nobody respects me. Nobody loves me. Nobody thinks of me. Nobody asks me how I'm getting on or what they can do for me. There is no respect coming back in my direction. I wasn't respecting myself. And if you're saying that, if you're saying any of these things, it's because you're not doing it for yourself. People cannot do for you what you're not doing for yourself. So whatever that is, think about whatever it is that you're talking about. Think about whatever it is that you're saying about the world at large, your partner, your work colleagues, people around about you. What is it that you feel that they're not giving to you? Because that's where you start. That's where you start looking inwards. That's where you know what you're not giving to yourself. So when you've identified that, ask yourself, what can I do? What can I do for me? What am I prepared to do for me? How can I expect other people to give me what I'm not prepared to give for myself? It doesn't work like that. It's not that we can expect other people to carry us. The more you hand your power over to other people for your happiness, for your well-being, for your mental and emotional stability, for the love that you feel in your life, the further away from yourself the more disconnected with yourself you become. So the only way that we can ever make that change, the change that we want to see in our lives, in whatever guise that is that your romantic life, your work life, the relationship with your kids, every relationship, doesn't matter. But whatever is not working for you in those relationships, the only way to make that first change is by looking at your own relationship with yourself and asking, where am I not doing these things for me? What am I prepared to do for me? Where am I prepared to put myself first? And only then, only when you start working from there, can you begin even to think about putting boundaries in place. Only then can you think about saying no to other people rather than that constant yes, and then feeling dreadful, feeling frustrated, feeling angry at yourself and annoyed at other people until until you've started that journey, until you've started that journey within. You can't possibly make the changes on the outside. You can't possibly stand up and say no. Of course you can. But comfortably say no, without guilt, without fear, without worrying what other people think of you. Because when you're working with yourself, when you're loving yourself, when you're putting yourself first, when you're building the knowledge of who you are and why you're here, when you're accepting yourself, good, bad, warts and all, loving yourself, looking in the mirror and saying, you're enough, then you can begin to understand. Then you're beginning to increase your self-worth, your sense of self-worth. And somebody who's worthy isn't a doormat. Somebody who's worthy isn't saying yes to everybody out there, just because it's easier to say yes than it is to say no and stand firm in your convictions. But when you start to do it, it becomes easier to say no. It becomes easier to say yes when it is a yes, no when it's a no, and create stronger relationships with other people. Because the paradox here is when you're saying yes and you really mean no, people don't really understand. They hear the words, but the energy that comes with it is so completely different. It's confusing. She said yes, but I don't think she's happy. I never know where I am with her. She's really difficult to read. I really can't trust what she says. I really feel uncomfortable round about her. That's what happens on the outside world. That's what happens with people round about you when you're not being true to yourself. They get that. And the ones that love you, the ones that want to support you, they're confused. They don't know how to support you. On the other side, the ones that have no desire, the ones that you attract by not being able to say no, they love it. They love it because they know they can take and take and take, and they're never going to be required to give. And those are the people that we want to clear out when we do this self-love. We get deep with ourselves. Those are the people that we want to clear out, so that we make space for other people that really are there to support us. And I say that from my own personal journey. I also say that from working with women who have been amazed that by letting go of those toxic relationships, and they don't even have to be hugely toxic, but just those one-way relationships, those one-way streets where you give and give and give, and the other person takes and takes and takes and gets pissed off when you're not prepared to give. When you get rid of those relationships, or you put them back where they should be, and they're not part of your inner circle, you attract so many other people in because you've created space for that. So that's really what I wanted to share. I'm kind of, I'm pensive today. I don't know if it's because there was a full moon and there was lots of things happening and it's just beginning to work through me, or because I did my webinar on people pleasing and and how to set those clear boundaries that create that trusting relationship with other people. And I really saw that, up close and personal, how draining it is for people, how exhausting it is when they're not able to say no, when they're not able to put themselves first, when they don't even realize, you don't even realize that you've got a choice, and your choice is me first, fill my cup first, full of love for me, and then I've got so much more to give to other people. When you don't realize that, there's nothing, there's nothing and there's nowhere to go with it. So that's really what I wanted to share. It was kind of a thought, a morning thought for setting the week off. So if you have any questions on it, as always, I'm here. My name's Allison Reiner. I'm your Loved Again coach. You can either join me over in my group, Loved Again and Forever, or you can add your comments here and I'll respond to you. What I am going to do is, I've got a beautiful workbook which really talks you through how to be your unique self, how to take that first step, how to use what's happening outside of you, all those thoughts you have about the people outside of you, and how to use them to turn them inwards and begin that journey towards connecting really strongly with yourself and putting yourself at the centre of your world. Not because you're selfish, because you understand that when you're not full of self-love, when you're not overflowing with love, respect and compassion for yourself, it's very difficult for other people to be, and it's more difficult for you to give that out again. So I'll put the link to that. Please feel free. It's completely free to download it. So thank you very much. Have a great week. Have a great Monday. There's some great stuff coming up here on Project Positive Change. So yeah, Ali Reiner here, your Loved Again coach, member of PPC, and and I run a beautiful community of nearly 1,000 women called Loved Again and Forever. So come and join us. Bye.